My name is Cassidy.
And my name is Bailey.
And this is our presentation on the Mother of Equality. Elizabeth Cady Stanton was born in Johnstown, New York on November 12, 1815. She was born into a family of a wealthy surrounding. Her father was a lawyer and her mother was born into a rich culture. Elizabeth was one of the 11 kids and one of the 6 to survive to adulthood.
She was educated at Johnstown Academy in New York until she was 16 and was extremely intelligent. Developing knowledge at such an early age gave her the power to carry out her beliefs as an activist toward female equality.
She's so beautiful.
If only she was a boy. Starting off young, she was constantly reminded by others, especially her father, that she was not of the same value as a boy. This was only the beginning to a lengthy journey for the fight of equality.
As she grew older, her mind was constantly developing around the ideas of equality. As she noticed them in school, at home, and with her friends, it almost became hard to ignore. So, how's school going?
It's been going pretty well, but I'm having a really hard time writing up people for English.
Oh, English? I'm really good at English.
I don't really want your help, though.
Why don't you want my help?
Because you're a girl. On her 18th birthday, she gave a speech to a group of people expressing her values of women and how they should be treated as equals. Her dedication only grew from this. Her feminist views were heard by reforms, delegates, women from the Constituent Society of National Council, and family members. By her side stood Susan B. Anthony and Mary Dickinson, 2 other powerful women leaders. This was only the beginning of her public appearance and voice to women's rights.
In thanking the friends present today, and through the press of the many clubs of women throughout the country who are celebrating my birthday here tonight, and in response to the many letters and telegrams I have received from the world, I would say to one and to all that in demanding justice and equality for all women, I have secured larger liberties for myself. Women are the same, with different duties according to the capacity of the individual. Women, like all created things, lives, moves, and has her own being to the law, exploring with man the mysteries of the universe and spectating all of the riches and glories of the hereafter. After her speech, her career as a feminist took off. Not only did she spread the word of equality to the nation, but against her father's wishes, she married a man by the name of Henry Brewster Stanton. She partook in conventions, attempts to pass bills, and spoke for the unspoken.
For their honeymoon, they attended an anti-slavery convention. At this convention, Stanton and several other women were told to sit in the back. You can only imagine the offense of this statement in her mind.
Together with Susan B. Anthony and 3 other powerful women figures, Stanton was able to put on the Seneca Falls Convention. Even Frederick Douglass was involved. This project involved the passing of women's rights socially and politically, meaning they would be able to have the right to vote in a doctrine, like the Declaration of Independence, except it was called the Declaration of Sentiments. However, they were always ignored. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. He has created a false public sentiment by giving the world a different code of morals. and of these morals for men and women, excluding them from society, and they are not tolerated, but deemed of a little account of man.
This caused the start of protests, riots, and growing realization of the discrimination against females. The awareness of these stereotypes continued to be ignored by the government as they were focused on the Civil War. Even after the war came to a finish and amendments to the Constitution were being changed for African Americans and their rights, they were still ignored.
Together, Susan B. Anthony and Stanton were able to create a newspaper called The Revolution, along with the Women's Suffrage Association. Papers! Get your papers here! If you want equality, it's only a nickel.
What's this?
It's the newest paper. It's all about exploring the boundaries of rights. Papers! Papers! Oh, thank you.
Not only did Elizabeth create a newspaper business, but with the help of her daughter Harriet, they were able to start a 2-volume book series. This book series caused a tremendous amount of protest by not only affected religious quarters, but by women's suffrage movements as well.
Elizabeth continued to spread her beliefs, even going to the extent of banning the Bible from Nebraska for its sexist remarks.
Why do you want to ban the Bible? It's a safe, secure book that we use in our time of need.
It demeans women. The question is, why would we want to teach our children that one gender is better than the other? Here, read my book that I wrote with my daughter. It's a critique called The Woman's Bible. It's all about the justification that women have towards the Bible.
We need Jesus, not a book towards women's rights. By the 1880s, Stanton was 65 years old and did not capture the public's attention like she used to. She focused more on writing rather than lecturing and traveling. She was able to finish 3 volumes of the history of women's suffrage and even finish an autobiography before her death.
The moment we begin to fear the opinions of others and hesitate to tell the truth that is in us, and from motives of policy are silent, and when we should speak, the divine flood of light and love no longer flows in our souls. The prolonged slavery of women is the darkest page of human history, and the woman has become uniformly sacrificed to being the wife and the mother.
Stanton died in October of 1902 in New York City, only 18 years before women gained the right to vote. Overall, Stanton and Anthony dominated the women's rights movement for over half a century, with intellectual speeches, protests, and more.
Today, we see the effects of Elizabeth Cady Stanton's actions in our everyday lives. Although we may see the daily struggle of being a woman in our community, the ability to be able to vote and obtain rights, jobs, skills, as the same as men do, is a blessing. Some may know that we have many people who express the feelings towards gender inequality, and we are able to have one today. Julia Ziegler, founder of the blog called The F-Bomb, which expresses why and how girls and guys can take action against forms of inequality, is here with us today. How are you doing, Julie?
I'm great. Happy to be here.
Well, let's get right to the burning question. What do you hope to get out of your beliefs?
I believe by various speeches and writings that I've given over the past years, I change people's minds on certain issues and help them feel less alone. Especially when I write or speak about body image, I'm given feedback that suggests women often feel alone for this, and the knowledge that it is a common problem makes them feel stronger and even more able to fight back.
So, how do you think Elizabeth Cady Stanton impacted you?
Elizabeth Cady Stanton's legacy is very valuable. She is also an incredibly eloquent writer, and the ideas she put forth nearly a century ago still feel relevant today.
Interesting. So, what you're saying is, if we want to see balance between genders, we need to take action?
Exactly.
By Elizabeth having the courage to fight for what she believes, she was able to start the battle of equality. Although women may have the rights today, the liberty of women needs to continue, so that one day, man and women can be looked at not by their gender traits, but by their character. This is why we look at Elizabeth Cady Stanton as such a strong leader, for her ability to complete her goals no matter how difficult they may seem. Thank you.